to
This
set a couple of
conference will
things up.
now be recorded.
Hopefully everybody had an awesome weekend. I think I had a fantastic weekend. Didn't do a whole lot, but yeah, it was a good weekend. It was really, really good. Sometimes not doing a bunch of anything is a good look for me. I don't know. I like it anyway. Not doing stuff is pretty awesome. So I just wanted to get a couple of things set up here, and then we're going to get started. All right. I think we're looking good, y'all. It's a good thing in the morning. Okay. All right, so we are going to start this meeting like right now, and we're going to start it by saying our new motto, I should say. Our new motto is, and it's taken from a young lady by the name of Donna J. Fox Esquire, because she's an attorney. It's easier to borrow $10 million than it is to earn it. But then we have a little addition to her saying, which is, it's easier to borrow $10 million than to earn it, but if you don't have a game plan, don't borrow a dime, right? Because we all know what happens when you don't have a game plan. You get a bunch of money, and it just, the money is going to go out the window. So once again, let me state it. The motto of Power Monday Masterminds is, it's easier to borrow $10 million than it is to earn it. But our little addition to that is, if you don't have a game plan, don't borrow a dime, because you will just find yourself in a world of screwed upness. And we're not looking to do that. We're looking to enhance, right, and to do better than what we currently do. That's our objective, is to do better. So we have to have a game plan. We have to have at least the starts of something before we just jump out and start borrowing a bunch of money. So we keep on going over the some of the same things, which are how to go out and obtain this money. I talk about that regularly actually, through the course of our conversations, week after week after week after week after week, because that's a big part of us doing business, right? That is a huge part of us doing business. And the facts are that most business people, small business people like you, myself, is that we are undercapitalized. And that's what leads us down the path of messing up our entire everything. And so we want to, constantly think to ourselves, about capitalization of our businesses prior to anything else, so prior to even starting the business, we want to think about, how are we going to capitalize this business, and preferably OPM, utilizing somebody else's money. So OPM, other people's money. And as we all know, there's plenty of money out here. And the reason we know that is because you can look around and you can literally see all around you. I don't care what part of the country you're in, what part of the world you're in, you can look around you and you can see people spending money like there's no tomorrow. So this weekend, we drove out to LA, and, as we always see out in LA, even here in Orange County, there are people building like these massive McMansions, there are people, when I talk to people back east, they will tell me that, oh man, they're building this, they're doing this, they're doing that, and so one of the things that I'm telling you guys that is super duper important for you all, for myself, is we have to start understanding that the myth, okay, because it's a myth, is the myth of lack is just that. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. There is more than enough for you to get everything that you want, need, and desire in this existence, in this lifetime. There is more than enough. And one of the problems that a lot of us have, and including myself, right? So it's something that I have to work on and fight through, is, old, stupid sayings that literally have been taught to us in a manner in which is not true, right? So I don't want to get into the whole religious thing or talking about biblical verses and that type of thing. But what I am going to say is that most of us on this call grew up under some sort of religious system or another, and that's awesome, wonderful, fine, But the thing is that the people that were teaching us would teach us things that literally aren't so, and they would literally tell us stuff like, which is very detrimental to us in life, that money, the love of money, is bad. It's evil. It's this, it's that, and the other, and that's not quite so, right? I mean, you can't sit up here and say that oh my God, money comes before anything else, but you have to say that money, the love of money, true enough, is probably not the best thing for you, but the idea of living in this existence, money is very important to us, and the only way you can do stuff for other folks, including and yourself, is by having that money, right? And so I kind of said that little piece in reverse, right? But I think you guys get the point, and I don't want to just keep on hashing on that. So the point overall is that we have to start changing our mindset, right? I'm not saying that you have to love money. I'm not saying that, money is the end all, because it's not. But what I am saying is that we have to start changing our mindset and understand that in this environment, in this that we live in, having money is the difference between us being able to help ourselves and our family, and then subsequently help those outside of our family, to do the charitable works that I think is imperative for us to do, right? And so the only reason I'm starting the call with saying that is because it's so important, because I talk to people and they have this this belief that they are less than, and that they, for whatever reason, are not worth it. You know what I mean? They have no self-worth, and a lot of it has to do with the things that we're taught, which I believe are incorrect. I think, and so we have to understand that we literally at this point in time in our existence have everything that you need to move forward, to get, become prosperous and have, live your best life, as they say, right? And so I wanted to start the call with that. We have to understand that, we have right here, right now. I'm not saying you have all the information you need, because if you did, you wouldn't be on this call. And if you did say that you have all the information you need, I think you're a foolish person, because you don't. I don't have all the information I need. There's so much that I learn almost daily from having conversations with clients and other people in general. There's so much I learn daily. I would never, ever in this existence learn everything that I need to know, right? But I'm in the process of trying to learn so that I can improve myself overall and improve my finances and just improve my existence. And so I'm just saying to you all, you have everything that you need right now to start and become whatever it is you so desire. And meaning in saying that you have everything that you need right now is simply saying that you have everything that you need currently to start learning, to start growing, and start developing. Okay? So I felt for whatever reason that it was important to, have that as the first part of our conversation this morning, because I'm believing that more and more and more and more. And so some people might be with that type of conversation, some are not. I really don't care. If you're not with it, then just so what, this call is not for you. But for those of you who believe that what I'm saying has a tone of truth to it, then this is for you. And so let's kind of move on. One of the things that I really want you all to get and to understand and to gather is that the littlest things, I say this saying because I heard it a long time ago, and I think it just makes all the sense in the world. And I say it to different people periodically, but and you may have heard it, but it's little hinges swing big doors. One of the things that we are finding, because as you know, part of our business credit building system that we provide for clients will do a free credit analysis and then subsequently free credit repair to help our clients get their credit where it needs to be so that they can go after business lines of credit cards. And with that, what we are finding, and I want you guys to take this in, is that when I'm talking about little hinges swing big doors, we are able to get our clients in a very short period of time, meaning 60 to 90 days, like an increase of 100 points on average, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but 100 points on average, just by doing simple things like adding My Jewelers Club, Ox Publishing, Hutton Chase. These primary trade lines don't cost a lot of money at all, right? So everybody is interested in adding authorized user account trade lines, and spending anywhere from $600 to $1,000, $1,500, or in some cases $2,000. And those are great, right? We offer them. And I wouldn't offer them if I didn't think it was to your advantage or to a client's advantage to have an authorized user account added to their trade line. I just wouldn't do it. But what I'm also saying to you is that for yourself or for your clients, you're going to want to start adding, these primaries, and they're for several different reasons. When you add My Jewelers Club, they are going to give you a $5,000 trade line, right? And so that's going to help you out in a lot of ways, or help your clients out in a lot of different ways. As far as, what we know about the algorithms of the different credit bureaus and the credit grantors, they want to see that someone else is entrusting you with a decent credit line, right? And so if they see someone else is entrusting you with a decent credit line, then they are going to be a bit more apt to lend you more money, all right? And so that's important. And it's not that you're an authorized user. This is your own credit that you went out and obtained, and that's important. That primary, even though it's new, is extremely important, because by the time you get to your first quarter, your first 3 months of payments, as a rule of thumb, right, if you don't have a bunch of derogatories pushing your credit score down, as a rule of thumb, a person's score will go up immensely, So just with My Jewelers Club alone, we see a 40 to 60% rise in a person's credit, Just that alone, right? Provided they don't have a bunch of derogatories that are holding their score down, because we all know how it works. We all know that the more derogatories that you have, right, it's that's going to weigh your score down. And so that's why it's so imperative not to just do credit, repair, right, and removing the derogatories, but also simultaneously building your file by adding things like, as I mentioned, Hutton Chase, My Jewelers Club, Ox Publishing, because these places are going to give you, like Ox Publishing and Hutton Chase are going to give you like a $1,500 credit line. And that's a good look. And what's even more important is that on those credit lines, they're going to be reporting as a primary, number one, and number two, you will never, ever, ever be able to utilize more than 30%, right? So it's just really sitting on your file. You're making payments on it month in, month out, reasonable payments, 20 some odd dollars a month maybe, every month. And they're going to report to the credit bureaus, and then subsequently you're going to get that rise in credit. And you never have to think about in terms of, oh my goodness, I'm over my 30% threshold, which we never want to do on our personal credit file, right? Ever, unless you're able to pay it off prior to the next billing cycle, right? So I just wanted to really put that out there, because I'm really seeing, good things happen with our client base, utilizing, once again, My Jewelers Club, Hutton Chase, Ox Publishing, and once again, those aren't the only ones, you guys. So, do your due diligence. For those of you who are fortunate enough to get the ebook that I sent out with a whole list of credit grantors, primary credit grantors, that will give you anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 worth of worth of credit showing on your credit file. And these are all, once again, starter companies, so they don't really care what your file looks like. Your file can literally be just, you could have just had a bankruptcy, 5-6 months ago. I have known of one person that they denied, and it wasn't a client of mine, it was actually a client of Joy's, and they denied her client. And I believe, from what I understand, the reason being was because that individual had just filed BK. So that I think within within a very short period of time, a month or two or something of that nature, and it was just started showing. So then that person was denied. But if you filed BK 6 months ago or something of that nature, I've never seen a problem with any of these credit grantors giving you, a line of credit. And if you just have a bunch of derogatories, then I've never seen them have a problem with giving you credit. And, don't forget, there are plenty of these type of companies out there. These are just the ones that I'm talking about at this moment. And I just really think you would do yourself, if your credit is a little wonky, or your clients some benefit if you were to, suggest that they add those primaries on, because, it's just a good look all the way around. So with that said, I want to go ahead and kind of, continue to move forward. I know a lot of you didn't get the notification until last minute yesterday about today's call. And I also know it was a holiday, Easter Sunday. And so therefore, a lot of you, a lot of people aren't going to make it on the call this morning because Easter Sunday yesterday, and I didn't send out the notification or the email until later in the day. So the people that are attending, thank you very much for coming on this call. I greatly appreciate you coming on the call, and I'm hoping that you're going to glean something from this call. The other thing that I wanted to go over is, I have a this this thing I'm doing, and I think it would be to everyone's advantage on this call. And that thing is, I am obviously utilizing this call to build a mastermind, right? A group of people outside of myself that, regardless to the businesses they're in, all are trying to move towards the same direction. Simply put, we're all trying to succeed in whatever our business ventures are, right? And so therefore, we're all going to be able to contribute to providing one another with information that can help us within our own businesses, whatever they may be. So I've been doing that also outside of the Power Monday Mastermind thing. And so for me, what I'm finding is, and this is like a shout out to the women that are on the call and out there doing business in the world. I do business with a lot of different people, but for whatever reason, and I don't know exactly what it is, but for whatever reason, I have found that for me personally, dealing with women in business is so much better than dealing with men. Again, I'm not knocking the men in any way, shape, or form. I'm truly not, but I'm just going to say that I have found that the women that I tend to deal with are more organized than the men that I deal with. The women that I deal with seem to have a more I don't know. Maybe with dealing with other men, it's like our testosterone gets in the way or something. I don't know, and we kind of get this thing where we become unteachable because we don't want some other man, telling us what to do. So like when I talk to men, often I'll get this, oh I already know that. But what I want to know is, that type of disposition or attitude. And it's kind of funny. And I'm not saying that I don't do it in some fashion or form, but, because I have my male pride, my male ego and all that stuff as well. But, it's really funny to me. But the women that I deal with, even the ones that I know and can tell, have huge egos, they are more apt to listen and then give their opinion in a more, I don't know, but for lack of a better way of saying it, in a more helpful manner than a lot of men I deal with. So what I'm trying to say to you all is, and I don't know if that's the same thing with women, working with women, I have no clue. But for the men out there, if you can find some entrepreneurial women that you can mastermind with or work with, I think it would be to your advantage. They, as opposed to the men that I deal with, they're so much more of go-getters than a lot of the guys, right? And I think, once again, that probably has to do with ego. Ego is very detrimental to business. And excuse me. So I'm just saying, you guys, it might not work out this way for you, but for me, for Pascal Mansell, it is, kudos, shouts out to the women out there, because I'm finding that working with women in my immediate mastermind, and also within my businesses, it tends to work out very well for me. So with that said, we want to move on again, and So the other thing I really want to get into you guys, get into it with you guys, I should say, is one of the things I'm finding that that's happening with a lot of my client base is that they are not, um, you know, they're not taking advantage of the things that are out there for them. I mean, I don't know how much easier I can make it for people. Look, there are a boatload of places out there to get your funding, a boatload of places. And the only thing that I ask of you to do is just, because if you're not a direct paying client of mine, we're not going to do it for you. And quite frankly, even if you are a direct paying client of mine, I still have you participate because I want you all to learn. I don't want to just hold your hand and pull you forward. I want to hold your hand and we together, walk towards your specific goal. But if you're not a direct client of mine and you're on this call or you're listening to this recording later, I want you to understand that just a little bit of due diligence, just a little bit of research, and all these places. I mean, just if you were to simply Google places like cabbage funding, right? You would get a whole slew of places that offer, business funding and alike, right? If you were to put in places like SoFi, which is another, funding company, they do personal, you would get a bunch of different places. Do your due diligence, right? It's just that simple. It's not like there's some kind of magic out there. As I've explained to you before, there's a very large company that, I spent a lot of money, thousands of dollars, to buy their program to see what they're talking about. And the first thing I realized is that, they don't do any of their own stuff, right? They have these wonderful websites that when you buy into their program, you get to go to these websites and they have all this stuff, about, you can build personal credit this way. You can, you can build your business credit. You get this, you get that, all these different little tutorials, which are awesome. Okay. But, is it really necessity? I don't know. Because all that stuff you can just do. You can just do it on your own because it has to be done. And then, so that was the first thing I found. The second thing I found is that, so they have these salesmen, and then the salesmen, once they know you're ready to go and they've kind of taken a review of your credit, then you subsequently will turn around and be shifted off to a whole other company. And that whole other company is just a salesman company. It's just a company full of salespeople. And then they even refer you off to another company to do the funding part for you, right? So it's like 3 levels for no reason. And I'm telling you guys right now, you want to build your business credit, you can simply Google places like, this is for your corporations. You can simply Google business credit funding or something of that nature. Or you can Google something like, I don't know, let's pick one. I'm having brain fade. Bags and Bows, right? Or FedEx Kinkos, or, USPS, or Uline. Oh my God, Uline. And those are the lowest tier and the easiest to get 30-day net corporate credit stuff, right? If you Google Uline, you're going to get a crap load of other places, right, that will give you 30-day credit for your business just like Uline will. FedEx Kinkos, same thing. Bags and Bows, same thing. There's a boatload of companies out there. So instead of spending, like I did, thousands of dollars to sign up with this company, you could do that yourself. And if you really truly want to kind of separate yourself from having to do that extra work, not a big deal. You can go to Fiverr, which I mention all the time, Fiverr.com, and there are people on Fiverr that will literally, for a couple $100, they will literally sign you up. They'll go through all the trouble for you of signing you up with the top, 5 or 10 different companies that will give your corporation or LLC, your business, business lines of credit. I mean, dude, how simple is that, right? So you don't even have to do it. I mean, that's how ridiculously simple this stuff is. You don't even have to do it. So boom, now all of a sudden you have your business credit, your corporate credit, I should say, set up in the story, right? You buy a few little things, not much, hopefully things that you need. You buy a few things, and then you pay the bill, right? And you do that because they're going to report to Dun & Bradstreet. Some of them, right, when you get to the next tier, will start even reporting to Experian Business and Equifax Business for you. So you start building that up. You start building your corporate credit to get to that all-important 80 PAYDEX score. And then you also are subsequently, for the upper tier stuff, for tier 2 and tier 1 stuff, you're going to you start building your business credit as well as your corporate credit, right? So none of this stuff is difficult, and it's all out there for you. You don't have to do like I did and spend the, thousands of dollars on a company that's not even going to hold your hand. And so that's, like, for me, one of the things I pride myself in is that when people pay me for my service, which is $5,000, I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I charge $5,000, and if you got to make payments, it's $6,500 that you're going to end up paying me. So my point is that, but I'm here, right? Joy, who works with me, is here, and it's different because you can call, talk to me, we chop it up, and I'm with you for an entire year, and we're going to work together to build not only your business credit, not only trying to get you the funding that you're looking for, but also help you build your business. So, I like to think of what I provide as a more encompassing service, and it's not just some person that you can't build a relationship with, over the course of a year, and that you can't just call and chop it up and go over your ideas and try to subsequently just really build your business, because it's important to always understand and realize that it's not just getting the money. You're going to have to build your business to subsequently pay that money back, right? And so we want to make this a complete thing, not just go out, learn how to get the money and run off. We want to build legacy, something that you can live on for the rest of your existence, and then subsequently leave to your children. Even if you take the money from your business and from your investments and from your from the capital that you utilize to build all that, the loans and the credit cards and what have you that you use to build all of that, we also want to leave something for our next generation, if you will, right? That's one of my chief objectives, is to leave something for my son and his children whenever he has them. So let me get back to the point. The point of this is, even if you're looking for business line of credit cards, what do you need to do? Google it, right? Yahoo it, Bing it, whatever. There are a slew of them out there. It's just a matter of doing it. It's just a matter of saying, I'm trying to build this business, and I'm going to do so because I know, right? Let's go back to our saying that we borrowed from Donna J. Fox Esquire, which is it's easier to borrow $10 million than it is to earn it. So we know the money's out here. We can see it all around us, right? We see, people building McMansions, which means they're tearing down a property that was a house that was already sitting there, and they're building some huge thing on its place. There's apartment buildings being built. There's this and that being built. There's just money being spent all over the place. And so we know there's money out here, and we know that if we present ourselves properly, in other words, if we've developed our personal credit properly, then we know that we will be able to, get the monies that we want, that we're asking for. It's just that simple. I don't want to, belabor, I should say, the issue, but you guys have everything you need right now to move forward, right? The fact that you were able to log onto this call, either via calling or dialing in, or being able to log onto your computer and getting accessing this call tells me that you have everything that you need, right? Because it doesn't take great intelligence. It just takes the doing of a thing, right? Because the doing of a thing is what makes us win. You need a job. What do? You go out and you start looking for it until you get something, right? It's the same thing with this stuff. You need to raise, 20 grand, 50 grand, 500,000, $1 million, whatever. That needs to become your focus. That needs to become where you're placing your energy. And that's what's going to make the difference, right? And I got to say this to you, because a buddy of mine mentions to me, well, why aren't you this and why aren't you that? And why aren't you, and it really comes down to this. I will borrow what I think I need, but I've been down that path where I've borrowed a whole bunch of money and then subsequently was not able to pay because A, my game plan wasn't strong or at all, and B, I just didn't have things in line like I should have. How's that? And so, yes, I'm on the course and path of borrowing $1 million because that's my objective is to do that. But at the same time, I'm trying to do it in such a manner where I'm not just taking the money and setting it somewhere and making payments on it. I'm trying to do it in such a way that I am, it's going to be utilized to generate more money for me, right? So, like as you guys know that have been on the calls, I got some money from Goldman Sachs. I don't know about this money that's going to come from SoFi because they're just asking for so much stuff. So I'm just really, even though they haven't closed it out, I'm just going to let them close it out because it's just it's a waste for me personally. They just want too much information, and I'm not big on constantly giving people information and then they're not, giving me the money, right? They constantly ask for new stuff. And it's because of the way my taxes are done. I'm showing K1 or business monies on my personal taxes, and so that's why they want me to provide them with my business taxes on top of my personal stuff. And I don't want to do that because I want to keep everything separate, right? I want to keep my business and my personal separate, as I keep on explaining to them. My business it's a business, right? So I'm just an employee of that business. Even though I run that business, I'm an employee. And since they don't want to separate the two, I don't really want the money because I want to make sure that if I go after business money, I'm going after business money. If I'm going after personal money, I'm going after personal money. And I hope you guys get that because it's very important. Because as a rule of thumb, not always, But as a rule of thumb, business credit does not report to your primary credit file. As a rule of thumb, other than companies like Capital One, if you get the Capital One Spark card, Spark for Business, they will definitely report to your personal. So they'll give you a personal Capital One, and they'll give you a business Capital One, but they will definitely report that business Capital One to your personal, just like it was personal. They used to not do that 10 years ago, and then I don't know why they started doing it. It's really not cool. But all the other places, as a rule of thumb, I always like to say as a rule of thumb because, companies will surprise you. They will not report it. They'll just report it to your Experian business file and your Equifax business file. And some of them will even report to your Dun & Bradstreet. But as a rule of thumb, they will report simply to your Experian business, and then a few of them will report to both Experian business and Equifax business, and then some of them will report to all three, Experian, Equifax, and DMB. Okay? And so I want to make sure that stays separate. That's why, I'm not desperate for the money, thank goodness. So, if they can't give me the money on my terms, then I don't want it. And I want you all to also remember that no matter how bad you feel like you need the money, you don't want to, you really don't want to get money that doesn't work the way you want it to work, right? You don't want to, and I know it's, because sometimes when the money's just staring you in the face, it's like, screw it, I'll just go so I can get that money. But ultimately, you doing that is going to be a detriment to you. And so you want to, and I know it's difficult at times, believe me. But if the money is not, money that you need, then you really, really, really just have to pass on it, right? If they gave me the money under my terms, man, I would take it. Set it aside, put enough, 6 months to a year worth of payments into an account, and let them take the 6 months to a year worth of payments while I have that money sitting aside, right? Or unless I have something to do with it. But it has to be on my terms, not theirs. That is what is important to me. I want to actually tell you guys, I was talking to a young lady, and I would just call her Doctor. And we had like a 2-hour conversation. It was like an hour and a half or so, probably close to 2-hour conversation. And, we were just chopping it up. And this is what's really important, you guys, about talking to people that are like-minded, right? Because even though, we both know so much, and I know she knows a lot, she will call me and say, well, hey, you know what, Pascal, what do you think about this? What do you think about that, right? Because even though you might know a lot, some of that information is just it's in the recesses of your mind, because it's been there for so long, you've moved on, you've done so many other things that sometimes you have to dig it up. And the best way to dig that up is by talking to people of like minds, right? And so every blue moon, she'll shoot me an email, or in this case, she gave me a call, and we were just chopping it up. And something I wanted to mention to you guys about her conversation with me is she was telling me about one of the things that she does, which is she'll find deals, right? So she puts it out in the world, that she will help people get out of their real estate deals. People that are losing their property, whatever the case might be. And then she'll run the numbers. And if all the numbers look right, she has wholesalers or people that will buy property cash, and then she makes a commission on it, right? So she had a property that she was going to make like $15,000 commission on, and but her credit cards are in a state where she wasn't able to put the $5,000 that she needed to give to the person, so that they can move and all that good stuff and sign the property over. So she wasn't in a position to do that because she had a lot of things happen within her family that she needed to take care of. She's apparently looked at as the person in her family. I don't know if she's the oldest or not, but the person to take care of, family stuff. And so she had things going on. And long story short, she went to American Express and talk to the people at American Express. And this is really important because I want you guys to understand something, that you cannot just discount what's available to you out in the world, right? You cannot. You have to. Close. There's an old saying: "Closed mouth don't get fed." And so, she opened her mouth. She needed the money so she could close this deal, knowing that because of the numbers, she was going to make $15,000 on this. And so what she did was she went to American Express and she said, "Hey, American Express, I'm a client of yours. I've been a client. I'm in good standing. I need $5,000 for this real estate project, and blah blah blah." And what they ended up doing was, American Express said, "Hey, you only have a $5,000 credit line on this particular card, but because of what you were trying to do, this real estate deal, we are going to give you an increase of $5,000, right?" That's like ridiculous, right? And so there's an increase that she was going to be able to pull out in cash and then subsequently give to these people. So American Express made a deal with her, and they told her, "Okay, so how long do you think it would?" I'm sorry, they asked her, "How long do you think it will take you to pay back that $5,000?" She told them 3 months, 4 months. I forgot exactly what it was. And long story short, because she needed time for the real estate investor, the wholesaler, to do his thing and her thing. I don't know if it's a he or her, and then subsequently buy the property, right? So, American Express gave her that $5,000, and it's like all you got to told her, "Hey, all we need you to do is on this additional $5,000 that we gave you over the 3 or 4 months that they extended that. All you need to do is pay $500 per month, and then in the 3rd month or the 4th month, whichever it was, just go ahead and pay off the $5,000, right?" I mean, if she had not thought to call them, she would have lost out on $15,000. Isn't that like the craziest thing? But the thing is she took the risk. She took the chance. So even though her true credit limit is $5,000, they gave her for a short time an additional $5,000 so she can go and make this $15,000. Let's say she made the payments for 2 months, right? So it cost her $6,000 to make $15,000. I mean, 15 minus the so $9,000, in profit. That my point to you guys with the doctor, I'll just call it doctor, with her story is that if she had not and realistically been desperate, right? Because she didn't know what else to do. She knew she had a deal, but she didn't know where to get the money. So she said, "Let me start calling." And you see the importance of that, right? Is the going out and doing of the thing. That's what made the difference. That's what allowed her to create this deal, allowed her to make something happen. And so many of us, including myself, far too often, we don't move because we analyze stuff too much. You know what I'm saying? And the old saying, paralysis of analysis. Because we're paralyzed because we spend so much time trying to analyze stuff and trying to, no, just act upon it. Because the worst thing that can happen is no, right? I mean, it's not like American Express is going to come over to her house and beat her up for asking for the money. It's not like someone's going to come and sock her in the eye for asking for the money. The worst case scenario, unless you're dealing with a loan shark, which you're not going to do, right? Is if the answer is going to be no. The same thing for applying for credit. Worst case scenario is no. All right? So we have to start working under the assumption that there's a 50-50 opportunity, 50-50 chance, I should say, of getting what we're looking for. Is that making sense to you guys? And as a rule of thumb, the worst case scenario is going to be no. So if the good doctor did not go out, open her mouth, and ask American Express to give her a $5,000 increase so she could pull the cash off and go and pay this person that needed to, that was losing their property or whatever, she would not have netted, right, approximately $9,000. So we have to think in these terms, you guys. We got to start thinking, and I'm not saying that you're going to go out and do real estate deals like that, but what I'm saying is just in our business, whatever that business may be, we have to start thinking, I have nothing to lose but to give it a shot. I have nothing to lose but to give it a shot. I mean, that should be a mantra. I have nothing to lose but to give it a shot. I have nothing to lose, because you don't. Right? If you fill out an application and they tell you no, so what? Who cares? Right? We have to start moving forward in whatever our business ventures are. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I do a lot of different stuff, right? And in the back of my mind, and I try to keep it in the very, very back of my mind, I know some of it's not going to work. But I do these different things because they're things that interest me, things that I like the idea, or I'll invest with somebody in an idea. And the reason I do it, and I know not everything's going to work, right? In my heart of hearts, I know not everything's going to work. But the facts are, I don't know what is or isn't going to work, right? And I don't run out and just do arbitrary things. I don't invest or do business in just arbitrary things, just some BS that comes across my desk, so to speak. I do things that I literally believe have some merit, right? And that also that can happen. Well, let me just leave it at that. That can truly happen with some effort. But I know that I have to focus on my core business, and that focus is the key to winning in anything. So it has, whatever these new things are, they have to relate in some fashion to my core business, because that is my primary focus. And if you don't have focus, you have nothing. And I understand that. An example of that is a young lady called me up. I may not have told you guys this, and she had this brilliant idea. And I said, well, look, I can't do the front end stuff because I'm focused on my primary, right? I'm working on developing this primary business set that I have, but I will work with you and I'll take half the business. And so me doing my primary, what's already in my primary? Oh, no problem. I'll set up the corporation for the business. I'll set up the domain names. I'll even get the website set up, all this, all that. All those things that I already do on a daily basis anyway for myself and for my clients. And her business model is such that, she can go out and do the other stuff, the front end stuff, the stuff that she knows best. And then I can do the back end stuff that I know best, but it doesn't take me out of my focus on what I'm trying to, my primary business. Because I don't want to be that guy It's just like you don't want to be that guy or girl that jumps around from thing to thing to thing, especially that's way outside of your focus, right? But if I can, either throw some money over there that it with somebody that I know is reliable and they are about their business, then okay, I'll do that. Or if there's things that I can do from within my primary focus, right, that will help them and enhance them, and I can get part of the profits from that, then I'm with that. But I don't want to be outside of my primary focus, because if you do that, you're going to be constantly spinning your wheels and never succeeding at anything, and that is a fact. So, back to the doctor thing. She made money because that's in her focus, right? She deals with people in real estate. But more importantly is that she made money because she went out, opened her mouth, and started saying, hey, will you do this for me? Hey, will you? Until someone said, yes, they would. And that yes came from American Express. So, okay, look, I just did something real quick here. I Googled sites like Kabbage. And as I mentioned to you guys, Kabbage is a place where you can get personal and business funding. So when I Googled sites like Kabbage, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. And at the very top, you get Bluevine, which is another company that offers business funding, right? So there's Bluevine, there's Fundera. I don't know what that is, but there is a list of places that will Lindivo or Linvo. But my point is that you guys, research this stuff, y'all. It's not hard. Go after this money. It's out here. It's there to be obtained, right? To build your business. And I'm really saying to you guys, before you step out and put your own money at risk, your own credit directly at risk, I think it's imperative for you guys to clean up your personal credit. That should be your primary focus, in my opinion. Get some credit in your personal name because it's a good look. And then start getting business lines of credit cards because they're easier. And then subsequently go after business lines of credit loans. Okay? The only thing that you have to understand is when it comes to business lines of credit cards, I should say, business line of credit cards, they are, as a rule of thumb, not going to report to your personal credit. So we like to call that ghost credit, remember? Very important. And then when it comes to the loans, and that's also, as a rule of thumb, stated income. It's rare that they're going to ask you for documentation unless they just don't feel easy about your credit, right? So business line of credit cards, we go after them first because they are looked at as stated income. Awesome, right? And then with loans, we want to go after them after we're able to kind of, shore up our business and have it look a certain way. Does that make sense to you guys? Can we go after the business line of credit cards first? Stated income. That means we don't have to produce any documentation as a rule of thumb. Business lines of credit loans, like Kabbage maybe, we'll go after that secondly because they're going to require documentation, and we're going to utilize the money that we get from the business line of credit cards to then bolster up or lift up our overall positioning. So that way, when it comes to having to produce documentation for the loans, we can do so and have everything look like it's supposed to. All right. So look, thank you guys for coming on this call. It is 10 o'clock. Once again, I really hope you guys are learning something. Does anybody have any questions whatsoever? If you have any questions whatsoever, that would be fine by me. So if anyone has any questions, now is the time to either ask them or put them in the chat. And if you do not, then I'm going to conclude this call. Okay. So as usual, people don't have anything to ask, which just really, once again, blows my mind. But thank you all for coming on the call. And you guys, I'm just telling you, you're going to really have to start, writing down your questions. I had a young man call me after the last call. Actually, he texted me a couple of times, and then subsequently wanted to email me. Then emailed me, and then was basically like, hey, I want to set up a time to talk to you, so on and so forth. And he had all these questions for me, and I was like, dude, I am not answering your questions. It's just you had a chance to do that for free on the call. If you're not willing to send me $500, which is $250 an hour for 2-hour minimum, then I'm not answering your questions for free. And he was courteous enough to understand that point, but it doesn't make any sense to me that you're going to call me after the call knowing that I charge and still try to get free stuff out of me. This is all free, you guys. You can literally ask anything you want, and either I'll give you my best answer, and if I don't have the best answer for you, then I will find out and then subsequently send that best answer to you. Okay? So we will talk next week, and thank you guys once again so very much for coming on the call. My number, if you want to call me, is 951-515-4728. But remember, I charge. So, and if you want to email me, it's Pascal at vanguardgloballlc.com. Okay? All right, thank you guys again, and I greatly appreciate you all coming on the call. And until next time, take care.